In the middle of a vast void, a terrifying light blazed across the sky. It turned out to be a nightmare, one that ended as a woman suddenly woke up. She had no idea where she was, her mind haunted by flashes of people dying in horrific ways. But that too was just a dream. This time she truly awoke, lying on the cold floor of a room, her body covered in wounds and her memory completely gone. A mechanical voice echoed around her, reporting abnormal activity detected and warning that due to a system failure, the backup power needed to be reactivated immediately. Struggling through the pain, the woman forced herself to stand and grabbed a flashlight to investigate. As she wandered through the dim corridors, she found bloodstains everywhere, and eventually a corpse that seemed to belong to one of her crewmates. Carefully, she pulled a knife still lodged in the body's chest and continued to another room, only to find yet another lifeless body. After searching further, she finally discovered the control room, managed to restore power, and unlocked the main exit. Outside, she saw a desolate planet cloaked in darkness, with body bags scattered across the ground, each containing her fallen comrades. Ash drifted through the air as she scanned her surroundings, catching sight of a faint shadow that eerily mimicked her movements before vanishing into the dark. With no idea where she was or what had happened, the woman kept moving forward until she nearly stumbled into a deep ravine. Looking up at the sky, she saw once again that same horrifying light from her dream. Suddenly, she began coughing violently and felt dizzy. The air she was breathing was poisoning her. After managing to get back inside and seal the door, the system reported that oxygen levels within the station had dropped. Not long after, the woman, whose name was Riya, heard someone calling out to her, followed by terrifying visions of the crew being attacked, including a crewmate whose face had decayed beyond recognition. A flashback revealed a happier time when Riya and her crewmates, Clark, Davis, Kevin and Addie, were sitting together at the dining table, laughing and enjoying their meal. Some of them were eager to explore the planet, especially after learning that its atmosphere was almost breathable. Back in the present, Riya placed a medical patch on her neck and took a shower, still questioning who she really was and where she might be. Afterward, she began searching through the crew quarters, occasionally seeing faint flashes of her crewmates' faces in fragmented memories. In one of the rooms, Riya found a notebook filled with notes about the station, along with several photographs of herself caring for plants. Suddenly, she heard a strange noise, and the system detected movement at airlock zone 1. Moving cautiously toward it, Riya saw someone pounding on the outer door. She gripped her knife tightly, and the moment the person entered the corridor, she shoved them to the ground, cracking their helmet. The person turned out to know her, introducing himself as Brian. Hearing the name, Riya recalled fragments from her earlier memories and decided to let him go. Brian explained that he had been stationed in orbit to monitor the station and had descended to the planet after receiving a distress signal sent by Riya. He revealed that one of the crew members had gone insane and attacked the others. As they walked through the station, Riya showed him the bodies she had found and admitted that she remembered very little about what had happened. They soon realized that one of the crew, Clark, was still missing. To help, Brian deployed a medical bot, which scanned Riya's injuries and began treatment. While the machine worked, Brian spoke about Earth's condition, how 7 spacecraft had been launched in search of a habitable planet, but all had failed. Only Riya's ship remained, the last hope of humanity. He also revealed that they were currently on planet Koi 442, officially named Ash. Brian had been living in orbit to maintain communication with Earth and to intervene in case of emergencies. Riya then realized that the strange light she had seen in the sky earlier was actually Brian's orbital ship. After the medical bot completed its task, Brian showed Riya the scan results, which revealed swelling in her brain caused by severe head trauma, explaining her memory loss. Frustrated by her inability to remember who she was, Riya broke down, but Brian gently comforted her, reminding her that she had once joined this mission out of a deep desire to seek answers and understand the mysteries of the universe. That night, Riya tried to sleep, but she kept getting disturbed because her cabin door wouldn't close properly. She began to hallucinate, seeing one of her crewmates staring at her through the small gap, triggering flashes of memory filled with terrifying images of monstrous creatures. Eventually, Riya managed to calm herself and realized that the door had been tightly shut all along. Putting her astronaut suit back on, Riya began moving the bodies of the fallen crew members out of the station. Deep down, she still felt anxious, wondering if Clark might somehow still be alive on the planet. Brian, however, urged her to let go of Clark and focus on survival. He also reminded her that their oxygen levels were critically low and the orbital ship would only align with the station in 12 hours. While handling one of the corpses, Riya suddenly saw its face twitch, causing her to relive violent flashes of the attack. She panicked and rushed back inside the station. When Brian tried to comfort her, Riya snapped, yelling that she just needed some rest. Later, she entered a blood-stained room and reached for a pair of scissors, but dropped them when a memory surged back. She saw herself stabbing Addie. Terrified, she ran to her cabin, applied a new medical patch to her neck, and broke down emotionally. After calming herself, Riya went to Brian to apologize for her earlier outburst. Together they gazed out at a massive sandstorm raging beyond the windows as fragmented visions of her crewmates' deaths continued to flash in her mind. Brian then quietly confirmed that Riya once had a romantic relationship with Kevin. The silence that followed was broken when the system alarm blared, warning that the station hull had been breached and oxygen levels were critical. Both quickly suited up and began inspecting the compartments, eventually finding a hole in one of the walls. Carrying her tools, Riya crawled into the narrow maintenance shaft and noticed signs that someone had been there before. She also heard a strange noise and followed it, but the tunnel grew too tight to move in her bulky suit. Riya made a desperate choice. She removed her suit to move freely, losing contact with Brian and exposing herself to the planet's toxic air. Soon she found a loose piece of metal, which turned out to be the source of the strange noise. But as she tried to close the hole, a hand suddenly shot out, reaching for her, triggering a horrifying vision of a melting face. Realizing it was only another hallucination, Riya forced herself to finish sealing the breach and returned to the main chamber. There, she told Brian about what she had seen and the theory that Clark might have been infected by some kind of pathogen that causes severe neurological symptoms, something like spaceborne rabies. Frustrated, Brian reminded her that they had already lost 30% of their oxygen and that orbital alignment would happen in just 5 hours, insisting once again that Riya must forget about Clark and focus on saving herself. To calm her mind, Riya began checking her crewmates' quarters again. During this, she remembered Kevin, who used to play music for her. Suddenly, Riya found herself standing in a red meadow, wearing a beautiful dress, with a hovering drone beside her. Kevin was also there, observing a strange hole in the ground from which a bright light emerged. He complained about feeling pain, and then the scene shifted drastically. Kevin was now inside the station, being stabbed by Riya. Riya saw a monstrous face before she suddenly woke up on her bed. Still shaken by what she had seen, Riya searched another room and discovered a drone near a flickering monitor. She connected the drone to the medbot, uncovering a video recording of the crew's exploration of planet Ash. In the footage, the crew had found a metallic pit, realizing that the planet's atmosphere was artificially created, meaning someone had already begun terraforming it before their arrival. Suddenly, the pit began to glow intensely, releasing energy bursts that struck Davis, throwing him backward. When they checked on him, his helmet had cracked, and his face was severely burned. Moments later, smoke, fire, and electrical discharges erupted from the pit, while the drone captured similar events occurring across the landscape. As Riya was focused on watching the footage, Brian suddenly appeared, startling her. Riya immediately accused him of knowing everything all along, but Brian swore that all he knew was that the team had gone on their mission before communication with Earth was suddenly lost. Riya didn't believe him, and a heated argument broke out. Eventually, Riya confessed that from the flashes of memory she had seen, she now realized she was the one who had killed several of her crewmates. She felt she needed to find out whether her visions were real or just illusions. That's why she wanted to stay. Riya also admitted that as the effects of the medical patch faded, Her old memories began to return piece by piece. Furious, Brian refused to waste their remaining chance for rescue and told her that she couldn't even trust herself without the influence of those patches. He insisted that their top priority should be informing Earth that they had discovered terraforming technology capable of saving humanity. Not long after, while Riya was packing her things, Brian came to apologize for his earlier outburst. He also made sure Riya had applied a new medical patch, even adding one more, saying that a single one might not be effective enough. After Brian left, Riya began to feel dizzy. She removed one of the patches, and suddenly her memories came flooding back. She remembered the moment when Addy attacked her, forcing her to fight back in self-defense. Her attacks barely affected him, and Addy easily overpowered her. As he tried to strangle her, Riya managed to grab a pair of scissors and stab him, forcing him to retreat. Even after being stabbed multiple times, Addy kept getting back up. Finally, Riya hid, then attacked his leg and stabbed him again, desperate to survive. Back in the present, Riya collapsed onto her bed from exhaustion, but horrifying visions once again jolted her awake. She began to piece things together, concluding that a pathogen must have infected the entire crew, and that was why she had been forced to kill them. Suddenly, she heard a strange noise. Thinking it was Brian, Riya followed the sound, only to find Clark wearing an astronaut suit. Terrified, Riya ran away, grabbed a flamethrower, and hid inside the ventilation shaft. There, she was shocked to discover Brian's corpse, his face brutally disfigured. As Clark peeked into the vent, Riya launched an attack, and a violent fight broke out. After exchanging several blows, Riya ignited the flamethrower while Clark used a table as a shield, but her suit still caught fire. Riya seized the moment to escape, but she fell hard, injuring herself. Clark chased after her and smashed a fire extinguisher to put out the flames on her suit. Their fight raged through multiple rooms, finally ending up in the bathroom. There, Clark slammed Riya's head against the wall, triggering a flashback. The exact same thing had happened before. Acting fast, Riya connected the shower hose to Clark's helmet and turned the water on, causing Clark to drown slowly inside her own suit. Realizing what she had just done, Riya carried Clark's body to the medbot, hoping she could still be saved. However, the medbot reported that Clark was already dead, and, even more shockingly, no trace of infection was detected. This meant that Clark had never been infected. She had attacked Riya because she believed Riya was the infected one. At that moment, the system announced that orbital alignment with the planet was about to begin. Riya quickly put on her suit and went outside. After sealing Clark's body in a body bag, she boarded the lander, only to find bloodstains and broken equipment inside. Alarmed, she tried to check the lander's systems, but they were completely non-functional, meaning it could no longer connect with the orbital ship. Riya returned to the station and applied 2 new medical patches to her neck. She then brought Brian's body to the medbot for a scan. The results revealed that Brian had been dead for 51 hours, something impossible since she had only just spoken to him. Hearing faint voices blaming her, Riya started to lose focus, but quickly came to her senses when the system detected an unidentified life form. Gripping her flamethrower tightly, Riya began searching through the station until she saw the same mysterious shadow from before. The shadow took the form of Brian, and Riya realized that this creature had been using her to kill Clark. After a series of terrifying visions, Riya stood frozen in fear and concluded that the shadow itself was the true source of the infection. The entity called itself a part of her, then pierced her head, forcing her to relive a fragmented, buried memory. A memory showing that after the crew had returned to the station, 2 members had discovered the alien being inside a control panel, and that was the exact moment communication with the orbital ship was lost. Meanwhile, as Brian flew down to the planet using the lander and entered the station, the remaining crew discovered that the creature had begun infecting their computer systems. The entity bored holes through the station walls, using them as pathways to spread throughout the facility. At first, the crew planned to evacuate, but Riya convinced them that if they could defeat the creature, they would gain access to the terraforming technology, the ultimate goal of their mission. Riya then took a sample of the organism from the system and studied it in the lab. She found that the entity could rapidly replicate itself, but the sample suddenly grew, shattered the containment glass, and attacked Addy. The creature entered Addy's body through his nose, causing him to convulse violently until it finally took control of him. That was what triggered the fight, forcing Riya to kill Addy. As Clark pulled Riya away, Kevin tried to check on Addy, but suddenly Addy sprang back to life and attacked him. Even with Riya's help, Addy was nearly impossible to stop, strengthened by the parasite controlling him. When Kevin was about to be killed, Riya called out his name and threw a scalpel. Hearing his name seemed to momentarily restore Addy's consciousness, but unfortunately, Kevin's attack had already struck, ending Addy's life. The parasite crawled out of Addy's body and entered Kevin's ear, taking control of him next. Under its control, Kevin grabbed and slammed Riya to the ground. Just as Kevin was about to finish her off, Clark arrived wearing a spacesuit, ready to fight. For context, these suits not only protect the wearer, but also enhance physical strength, giving Clark a fighting chance. She managed to land several powerful blows, but sadly, it wasn't enough. Kevin overpowered her, beating her down and even cracking her helmet. At that moment, Brian arrived, witnessing Kevin's distorted, monstrous face. Terrified, he ran into the ventilation ducts to hide, but Kevin caught him and killed him brutally. Meanwhile, Riya helped Clark put on a new helmet and forced her to leave the station for her own safety. Then, Riya went to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and listened to the soft, familiar voice of Kevin, now clearly the parasite trying to lure her out. Realizing the truth, Riya pretended to approach, then stabbed Kevin. The parasite leapt from Kevin's body into Riya, entering through the wound on her forehead. Before it could take full control, Riya quickly swallowed a large dose of sedatives, weakening the creature's influence. Moments later, it became clear that the mysterious presence detected by the station's sensors ever since Riya first woke up was the parasite living inside her all along. The scene shifts back to the present. The parasite continues speaking inside Riya's mind, telling her that humans are inefficient and destined to destroy everything, which is why the creatures refuse to share their planet or technology with humanity. However, the entity says it will make an exception for Riya if she submits to them. Riya refuses, then rips the medical patches off her body, and instantly, all hallucinations, including the image of Brian who had been with her all along, vanish. The system announces that oxygen levels have reached critical. Riya quickly orders the medbot to perform a full-body scan, and this time it successfully detects the parasite inside her. The bot then begins an emergency surgical procedure, which is gruesome and excruciatingly painful. The process lasts for several minutes, so painful that Riya's heart even stops beating. But after a flash of blinding light, Riya regains consciousness and the parasite is finally removed from her body. Just when she thinks it's all over, the parasite takes control of Brian's corpse, mutating it into a monstrous form and attacking her. A brutal fight begins. The creature strangles Riya and lashes out with its tentacles. Riya grabs a fallen screwdriver, stabs the monster, and kicks it away. She then quickly puts on her astronaut suit and charges back into battle. Riya launches multiple attacks, but they barely affect the creature, which continues mutating even further. Finally, Riya manages to grab the flamethrower and unleashes it, engulfing the monster in flames until it is completely incinerated. The film ends with the entire station burning while Riya runs to another lander, launching just in time. She flies through the planet's atmosphere, reaching orbit, only to discover, to her horror, that the parasite has already destroyed the orbital space station as well. And that's it for the story series of this film. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to support this channel by subscribe, like and share. See you in the next video. Goodbye.